kids helped me get up. They were fine. They never told me that. It was probably Joseph. The last time people helped me get up.
Well, she's big. She's almost as tall as I am. He was here at 5:45. She's in third. Remote 1 week. We have Julie and Allie on my staff. Yeah, doing great with in-person. Remote, let's go and see. She's on YouTube every time I look away. And she's drawing lots of things.
That's the problem with a lot of the schools. Is the remote kind of novel kind of wore off.
I just want to homeschool. Like I can teach her on a Southwood did virtual tour. Like that was what she did Friday for her special. And then
okay, well, I'm going to start. Ken should be on his way. What I'd like to do tonight is go through the floor finishes, wall finishes, get those finalized so that we can move forward with those. There are no major changes to what we last discussed. There are a few tweaks because I now have the furniture. I was finally able to get the furniture into the CAD file on top of the floor finish plan. So we made a few tweaks once that was done. So if I can get the finish selections finalized, we can talk about, after that, we can talk about the initial furniture. I'm trying to think of a way to say this so that it doesn't sound final. What we're doing is we've put together images of what we're thinking of as possibilities to get a sense from the committee what direction you'd like to go. So it's more for your response and reaction rather than, okay, this is what we're thinking. We're going to price it out. And then from there, we can talk about the next steps over the next 6 to 8 weeks of what we're going to do, what order, and hopefully set up a schedule of meetings to accommodate that. So what I'm going to do is start with the floor finishes and basically walk us through the entrance towards the back. And I'm going to start on the ground level. So at the entrance vestibule, we have a walk-off mat that is recessed. The storefront frames are this cream color, and we selected a paint that goes with it. And it just happens to be called creamy. I want the job for the guy who picks these colors. Creamy. Yeah, it's a dreamy creamy. And it works well with the tiles that are going to be in that main corridor. And as we discussed the last time,
Did you take the what point?
Sorry, glass, aluminum framed glass at the very opening. So as you walk in, this center aisle, all the way down, break point here, a break point here, and a break point here. So all the way down this center aisle is going to be this gray tan color. The diamond in the middle is going to have the black border with the refinished existing marble diamond in the middle. The cafe and the entry to the multi-purpose room are going to be this black tile with just the existing marble diamond inserts. So what it does, and then this secondary corridor which takes you to the public bathrooms and down to the vestibule out, it sets off this as a special area. So when you come in, you know that this is the main area, and these are ancillary spaces, and it'll be a nice offset. It'll break the space up. Going up the stairs, we're having the black tile as a riser. So as you're facing it, you'll see 7-inch, probably 5-inch bands of black. But the tread that you step on is going to be this gray tile to match the floor. The walls throughout, with few exceptions, are going to be that green color throughout the building. And I'm gonna, when I get to wall finishes, I'll tell you what the accent colors are going to be.
Is there nosing on the stairs?
There's going to be a nose and a nosing on the stairs.
Why isn't it all black or all the other color?
We thought it would give it a nice offset and tie the two areas together.
For people that are somewhat visually impaired, it's actually much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
to have that difference. You
Yeah.
can get a better, between the horizontal.
I'm so confused, the main area, the corridor, that's the gray color?
Yes.
So where was the black?
The black is, there's a band of black
Right.
around that center diamond.
Yeah.
And then the cafe is going to have just the black with the existing marble in the middle. And this kind of vestibule area for the
And all of this, all of it goes down, that's the gray.
right.
For the marble that's being used at the existing marble, is there some way we're drawing, the fact that that was existing marble repurposed for this new building, is that message being conveyed anywhere?
In terms of signage or in terms of how it's used?
I guess in terms of signage, for people who are coming in and would appreciate knowing, oh, that's a cool backstory.
Is that
Yeah.
something for that, whatever you were working on, that Mass Circle required? They could be piggybacked into.
I'm sure they would appreciate something like that. Yeah, we could have a little thing, but
Because if there's something between the two buildings, that's where the display or whatever it is.
I don't think there's a requirement for where that needs to be located.
But
It
there
needs to be in the building.
But do we even talk about where it might be? I thought that.
That would be, because it's actually a deal on each floor. It could also be an iPad.
But I think that that's, you know, once it's all in, have a photograph or something in there and explain. I don't know if we have all pictures to show, you know, this is the stairs where it came from and then this is where it is now. I think that would be a good.
It'd be a great little thing, even if it were a square this big, a little sign this big that had a photo and a thing to notice, if you look down, you'll notice that marble in the middle came from the original staff.
Or even if you have an extra piece that's big enough and laser it, you know, this is original marble.
Yeah, we could figure that would be fun.
Then you don't just something you put up on the wall.
Yeah.
No.
One of the things I'll be talking about later tonight is going to be the interior signage package. And items like that will flow into that conversation. So going into the program space, we're going to have this gray carpet, which works very well with the black tile. That's also going to be the main color in both of these stack spaces. In the kitchen, we're going to go with a wider tile. Then in this display and program posting area, we're going to go with the black tile to set it off, rather than the gray tile. We think that'll look nice in here, have it be a richer color. The bathrooms, workroom, sorting room, thank you. The bathrooms are going to be the 2x2 version of this tile on the floor. The wall is going to be a vertical subway tile, which is about 3 or 4 inches wide by about 5 inches high. And it's going to be this bright white polish, along with a fan that will most likely be about eye level of this accent tile that will run vertically like this, but it's going to be a band around the room. We've raised it up from where it was originally drawn so that it doesn't get interrupted by like the kangaroo changing table station, etc. this accent is only going to be in the larger public rooms. It will not be in the smaller single occupant unisex toilet rooms. In rooms that small, the accents get kind of funky. Countertops are going to be a white chlorine. Countertops and sink basins. We're going to have a marble threshold at the doors between the bathrooms and the corridors. And just to go back to the program room for a second, this will be the base that we use with this carpet. We absorb the base. In this area where we have the black tile or the gray tile, what we plan on doing is cutting a 4-inch strip of the tile and using that as the base. So if it's black, it'll have the 4-inch black base. If it's the striated gray, it'll have the 4-inch striated gray base. And that's going to be, in the areas where we have that tile.
The plans currently call for that, or
How
I think it does call for a 4-inch base.
whether
Because it's the solid
tile,
floor.
I'm not sure.
What's that?
But does it call for tile?
I think it would.
Okay. I don't know what the plan say on that plan.
toilet partitions in the bathroom. What's talk about colors in there?
What are they named out of?
No.
No,
Solid.
Canal.
Canal. And it'll be a simple, it'll be a basic color. I'll just go off the top of my head.
You have it all memorized.
If no one minds, I'm gonna hold my hats down. Because talking so much is really gonna knock me out.
Yep.
The surface type areas, like the sorting room, back of house type of spaces, are going to have this gray quartz tile. Basic with a gray rubber base. As we get into the teen space, the main accent down the middle is going to be the 1 meter by 1 meter squares of this carpet. The main is going to be the gray in that plank style. And you can see that over here. We have the gray planks running. This is going to be north to south. And then the 1 meter by 1 meter squares of the purple are going down here, down the center aisle as the accent. In the game room, we're going to have this plant version of the purple carpet throughout. It's too small a room to do patterns and borders. In the children's area, we're going to still, like I said, have the gray carpet, but we're going to have 1 meter by 1 meter squares of this accent color. And what we found when we put the furniture over the carpet was that we originally had some squares kind of randomly placed, 4 meter by 4 meter squares, because that's the repeat of that pattern, the 4 meter by 4 meter repeat. So what Ken thought of was, why don't we just have it run down the center aisle as one big bar, similar to the way we have this bar running. But it's nice to have this square as you enter the space. Since it's in front of this entryway, we don't want to make this whole area, excuse my hand, be that accent, but have an accent inset. And we're going to tweak this furniture a little bit so that it works with that accent bar down the middle. We'll probably shift some of these bins and the seating, slide that seating over a little bit. In the young adult makerspace, we'll have these three colors, sheet vinyl, in kind of a simple pattern, nothing too elaborate. In the children's program room, I showed two options the last time. One was kind of busy, and we felt that we would break it down, make it a little bit simpler, and also I have 4 colors going on. So what we'd like to do is have 4 sections still, but the larger sections are going to be the blue, Spencer's eyes, as you walk in, and then the opposite side, and then this side and this side are going to be the clover leaf, which is this green. The center, we're going to have 4 squares of that goldenrod color. And that
Is this what you're talking about in that room where those, where the floor met the wall, the color would continue up the wall?
yes, and that's not necessarily a color. It might be too heavy to do that much color in that room. There are going to be accentual colors that I'll get to in there. The rooms that offices are going to be, all of the offices throughout are going to be this standard carpet square. And then, as I mentioned, the teen room is purple. Wherever we have tile, it's going to be the quartz in the other spaces. The study rooms, breakout rooms are going to just be a continuation of the gray carpet as it runs down and throughout.
Why aren't the offices gonna be other, like, kind
We like them to stand out a little bit and have some separation of visual separation of space. I'm also afraid that in a small area like an office with furniture on top of it, that pattern is going to get kind of lost. I'd rather see a pretty simple textured patterned carpet, but a basic pattern and something in a different color that picks up the blues and the accent color that works well with the gray. And even there's some navy in here that picks up this color that's going to be maybe historical.
I kind of have 2 questions on that, in the children's area, that center access thing, yeah. I mean, why not just do the whole thing in the gray? That's just going to be boring, and you need to have some kind of thing that breaks out.
Plus, it draws some nice attention to the different seating in the area. Yeah.
That was minor. The children's program space with these 3 color tiles. Are these going to be too much?
Yes.
I would think
Yeah,
you would
it's
see
too much.
2 of them or something.
No, they really want white walls like any other adult program space. We serve a lot of kids with sensory issues, and a calm space is what we really need.
So I think, I mean, a pattern there with those 3 colors, I just think it would be kind of.
It's really two,
Fun house.
basically, right? It's like
It's blue here and here. It's green here and here with the gold in the middle.
Oh, I see. Gold is just a small thing.
The gold is just a small piece.
I see.
Square.
Primarily.
I'm passing on feedback from the children's librarian, who is an expert in children's development,
And what are her thoughts on that?
that we don't want that much color saturation in the space, that one color floor, white walls, chair rails and hangings, just really simple. And use the furniture for the pops of color.
Do you have a preference over as to which color we would use?
I'm always gonna pick blue.
Well, even
Yeah,
blue.
but- Yeah, blue,
Like the
blue and
yellow
green,
square.
like, yeah, I
But even
don't,
with the yellow square in the middle and all blue, it's
I think to take the color of the floor and bring it up onto the wall though.
That's not, no, we decided against that.
Okay,
The only thing that we talked about was the, where we have the bench seat
mhm,
for the librarian, talk to the kids.
mhm.
But that yellow, and all the other walls would be the white. So that there's a focus within the room for,
It's a pretty soft yellow. It's not kind of color. I'm sorry.
That's the color you're gonna talk about for the exterior, that's. Yeah, personally, I think. I don't have to live in that room though, I have an office upstairs.
Okay, so we could go with the basically all blue with the yellow pattern in the middle, or
I
get rid of
think that would be all right.
no problem. Get rid of that gold motif.
you know, the only other option would be to go with the solid floor, when you're focusing on that little recessed area with the bench. But maybe instead of doing a pattern in the middle, you make maybe a semicircular arc
Yeah, something.
in,
That actually would be
in
nice
yellow,
in terms of don't.
so it
keep
kind
your
of
space.
identifies where the kids can
Yeah, okay,
create an array.
So instead of in the middle, we would do it.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
Like the throne.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I think I'm just worried, it's fantastically dynamic, but I just feel like it would be a little too much.
That's fine.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And then, the third one, which you can tell I like more simplicity, like just the combination of these two colors,
Which two colors?
any of them. Like these two, and these two, and these two, like to me, it looks really loud, like. Wow, all
Yeah,
these different stripes. I mean, I know that's what like you're designed to do, and when you put furniture on top of it, it might make it a lot more subtle.
I think it will,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to show the folks at home. What
Yeah.
what we're talking
But
about.
again, I'm not,
Um,
I'm usually more like basic stuff like that.
When I only saw the diagrams yesterday, and they do, because of their concentration, they look very busy. And, you know, we did talk about getting samples of multiple tiles, and I think I would almost defer, once we get like maybe 4 or 5 gray tiles and some of the green and what have you, put them together and just see really how busy they are. Because it's almost as though you've got to look at that drawing with a magnifying glass. And I mean, I was looking at it on my cell phone. You know? So
In reality, you won't read the carpet. This is from 20 feet above, looking straight down. This is you're going to come into it, and I don't think it'll be as busy as this feels right now. So I agree with you.
yeah. So I think we look at the samples of that and just make sure that, because we can certainly come up with plenty of gray carpets that are, simple designs if we have to.
And the, this hallway, like the main hallway coming down is gonna be gray. Then it transitions to the purple,
No, it's still
but I think it's
on to the purple there.
like in the teen room.
On the
other
And
side
then-
of the
and
door.
then the main is the gray. Why not switch this? I mean, you want that contrast?
Yes.
You want to go from here to here.
Yes.
Oh, you could, if you wanted to, you could put a few tiles. of
No, I was commenting just switch,
gray there.
flip flop the colors, but
Yeah.
they even have the gray going into the gray.
But on your print, yeah, the children's carpet looks like it has purple in it, but I don't see any purple on that blue and teal and neon green and dark green sample. So how does that
That's good.
happen?
That's gray.
That really, okay.
Yeah.
I just wondered if that,
So that
that
carpet
sample
there
is
doesn't have
is
any-
that,
It's
It
Okay.
does look purple.
yeah,
It's this one here, you mean?
No, the other one.
yeah, the children's
No, the next
one
one.
on the,
Green?
no, to
The
To me,
green,
looks like it's
the
green and
green
purple.
looks like
in
it's
there.
got purple in it.
Yeah,
Oh, in the top area.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
here it looks like more springy and
And that's three different pieces of
That's three.
art.
Yeah,
This
so,
is three.
so the gray is the middle one. So
This is the main color. These are the two accent squares.
and it's one color for children's and one color for teens.
Yes. The accent colors are different. The field color is gray for both. Yeah. So what we have planned for the walls, as I had mentioned, is that throughout 99.9% of the building is going to be that green color. Where I've shown here are some accent walls that will pick up some of the colors that are in the accent carpets. So in this, on this wall here, we have a blue.
basically glass.
It's not all solid wall. It's mostly metal frame. There are some sections of drywall, for example, here. But this is glass. This is framed glass, as are these. So we have this blue, teal blue, which picks up the accent and the color from the center of the room. Then in the corner, this corner here, we have a green that I just took off before by mistake. So that being a storytelling reading area, it'll just draw some attention. As you come into space, you'll be looking across the room and see some green walls and the and then on this wall here, both sides are going to be that teal blue because that gets picked up in the purple as well. You can see this color here, and this green carpet and that purplish carpet. In the game room, we're going to have this carpet, but we're going to use this purple on all of the walls. And those are solid walls with the exception of this wall, which is a partial height window wall. And so that's going to be purple on both sides. I'd like that gaming room to be kind of on the dark side.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it'll give it a nice feel for the kids using it, and because it's all electronic gaming, it'll tone it down a bit. It won't feel as bright.
It's not really going to be dark. But the paint colors will
Right,
tone it down.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, these glass doors will have this film on it. The film is transparent except for the line work. So what you'll see is just all of this line work on glass. You'll still be able to see through it. The back wall of the makerspace is going to be this riveted. It's a film, but the pattern is a riveted metal panel. Which is nice. It has a nice industrial feel, and it provides a background for the line work on the door. We either painted a solid color or we do this. These two will work nicely together. And right now, that's all we have for accent colors on the walls. We don't want to make it too crazy, too busy. As we start to talk about furniture, as the process moves along, we will be able to talk about colors in the seating, in the tables. Usually it's the upholstery and like the plastic shells, where you're able to pick up colors that are pulled out from the carpet to liven the space up a bit.
Yeah, because we, especially in the young adult area, we were concerned, it's not the gaming wall, but the colors that are in the carpet are kind of strong to put on a wall. And we thought, well, we could certainly pick some of the colors, even the red, and put it in the little bunket seating that we've got on the sides.
You've seen Newton Library. their teen room is, it's like dark gold
Oh,
on
okay.
3 of the 4 walls. I think. So that the adults have to hang out.
That wall, we call it ribbon, right?
Yeah.
How much does that cost? Is that like $10,000, $5,000?
Oh, gosh, no. No, it's wall cover, it's basically wall
It's like
cover.
wallpaper.
It's a wall, it's a flat, it's a vinyl wall
Yeah,
film.
okay. I was just kind of curious on how much, and then same question for the really cool, that's the like,
Same
Yeah,
material.
in fact, we did have, in the bid, we've got a big tree or something or other
yeah, we
in this wall covering. So that's gonna be a deduct. This we know for the stuff. So,
Speaking of trees. In the children's room, this column here is going to be a tree, not literally, but the way Ken designed it, it's the column is going to be vertical
It's-
strips.
it's a square tree. So if you ever want to cut it down, it's really easy to make into lumber. No, it's varying width strips of wood vertically on the column.
Oh, neat.
And then there are like 2x4s, almost like branches. It's not meant to be a tree. It's almost
The
a
idea.
diagram of a tree. And then,
Digital age tree.
and then there are the diamond-shaped acoustical panels that are scattered all around it. And then each of them are made up of 4 triangles to make the diamond. And so we were looking at the colors, and we could go with the, because we have the green wall on the opposite side, maybe use that green. And we could even use the yellow, looking at that.
Then you gotta put in some chill ones too.
I'm sorry,
Chill ones, why not?
because you can have 4 of the panels, one might be yellow, the rest green.
Yeah.
On maybe the wall closest to the children's program room, that side, those panels have more yellow, and then the other side has more green. So it's a little bit of variety.
So on the upper level, as you come up the stair, as we mentioned, the trends are going to be gray, striated tile. The center aisle that connects the 2 main buildings will be this gray and blue pattern here in the 1 meter by 1 meter squares. So you can see it when you come up the stairs. It goes back to the meeting room, periodicals room, to the office and bathroom spaces, and then down the center aisle connecting you to the other historic reading. And then the adult section, we did not do any pattern inserts. We just did this basic gray and bluish plan throughout. Again, in the private offices and in the conference rooms, we have the blue square tile. In the back of house type spaces, again, it goes to the quartz, basic quartz style, with the exception of the stacked break room where we have the gray sheet good. And then in the large print room and the periodical room, we have a more traditional carpet, which will have a solid blue border. This large band outside, and the 2 stripes down the middle, and that solid maybe thinner band is going to be this trim ring. Then the field in the center will be that carpet there. That's going to be in both rooms. So this works pretty simple.
Yeah, and then you have the simple blue carpet is in like the study rooms that end up, so that ends up coming up against the dark blue border. So that's kind of a nice transition too.
Now, the paints, again, just about everything is that cream color. With the exception of, we're proposing a navy blue accent wall here at the very end. As you're coming down the fall, you see that nice, rich navy blue. It'll be great for art displays, historic displays. It'll really
You know, to
give
do
that.
the display on the room. And it's also going to tie into the blue on the floor too, so that
Right.
so
So,
there's a draw for that.
because these are actually open here. These are your two passages through the go through from one building to the next.
And the third one is open to it's not.
Right. So you'll be able to see that maybe the carpet as you're walking down here for one of the tile. And then the same thing here. For the walls, again, maybe accent wall here. In this conference room, we thought it might be nice to have a blue wall because we have a TV on it, another maybe blue wall. The periodical room is going to be painted to match what's there now. And so don't panic when you see this pinkish red color. It's the best microscope you can do. Not having a photo quality render on this. But, and then we're going to do the same thing for the walls on this, so that these buildings are linked on the upper level. And then we have, contemporary and after between the two.
We don't have the detail. We've got the pilasters, so we can kind of.
We can have some fun with it.
Hey, Ron, it's Julie. I don't know if anyone can hear me.
We can. What's up?
Okay, I just have one question about the gray carpet tile that's up on the second floor, the where the stacks are, or the bookcases are. It looks like a much bigger scale that
Could you
that
repeat
tile.
that? I'm sorry, Julie, we couldn't hear you.
So I have a question about the size of the carpet tile that you're using in the adult room where the gray tile is, as opposed to the gray tile that's used down in the children's area. Is it just a function of how you have your hatch, or are you actually using a different size tile in both spaces?
The same planked tile, this shape.
Okay, so it's just a function of your hatching, probably in the plan?
The colored tiles are the meter square.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay,
I just,
all right.
when I kept seeing the floor plan on the first floor, like, would they actually use such a small tile? And I couldn't get over it. So when I saw it on the second floor, I thought, oh, well, that's maybe a little bit more realistic size tile. So it's hard to tell, but all right, it's just a function of your hatching.
Oh, yes, the hatching on the line drawing is gonna look like it's a different size because I had to kind of jury rig the pattern.
Of course, it's a
Yeah.
weird size.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's this line here?
That's nothing.
I didn't think so. Up there, it's not nothing there.
Yeah, it's we think it might be a ceiling line.
Yeah, no worries.
So there's a little office that kind of comes into the director's office. What is that?
It's where we're sticking Heidi. The reference librarian, a very tiny space. Yeah, because she's mostly going to be out on the floor, but there's in case she needs to retreat or have a private one-on-one lesson consultation. There'll be that little space. My intent is that in 20 years, maybe when I am long gone, many of these offices will be study rooms because the staff are not going to be sitting in offices. Like we'll have one communal staff room for people who need to do work at a workstation, but mostly they're going to be out working with the public. So there won't be the, I hope there won't be the need for these little offices someday, like the teen librarian office. She'll have a desk on the floor. They're not here to throw things at me, that's why I'm saying.
We won't tell anybody, even though it's a public meeting.
It is. Yeah, but I mean, it speaks to, I think that I might not be here by then, right? But also speaks to the functionality of the design, that space can be repurposed even within these walls that we're building. As the community's needs change, I think this is a flexible building that's going to really grow and change.
It even seems like when we talked about it initially, that was going to be a little studies
Yeah, it's just too isolated.
space,
Yeah,
and it was going to have an entrance from the main reading room.
maybe we'll end up needing storage and it will be a closet. Who knows? I don't know.
One thing color I didn't mention is on the lower level where we have open ceiling, there's no ceiling tile. We had talked about doing this medium gray for the exposed ceiling. So that would all be painted out. That's mainly through this area. I think a little bit into this area.
In the entrance,
Yeah.
And like all the ductwork and stuff just gets painted black or something, or
No,
it's all gonna be.
it's a,
All the-
everything on the ceiling, the ceiling itself and any equipment hanging on the ceiling gets painted that gray.
So we'll get that work being exposed.
There is some duct, yeah, the ductwork's going to be exposed basically. Well, the problem with the drop ceiling is we don't have a lot of floor to floor height. And so if you don't have a ceiling, it gives us the ability to make it feel larger.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you're going to see the equipment there.
But if it's all the same color, it's gonna
It's all
kind
the
of
same
disappear
color.
into the.
Yeah, you see that in like restaurants and other things all the time, but I just wasn't sure how to work.
Yeah.
yes, we've done it in schools, all sorts of public
I
buildings.
did it 2 or 3 years ago in Holland, Connecticut.
Maybe lights, like are there lights that are hanging down the ceiling?
Yeah.
There might hang down from the
They'll be
ceiling.
down lower.
Yeah,
Yes, they're.
So in
they're
some ways,
from
they'll be
wire.
shining down and like the other stuff's gonna be above it.
In the children's room where there is a lot of exposure, we also talked about some kind of panels that were either gonna be tree shape or cloud shape or that would hang down too. Is that?
well, we have acoustical deck.
Yeah,
So the decking is perforated with insulation. And so that's gonna help with the acoustics.
that was like a visual cue that it's this Eastern Woodlands theme. We've got that. We talked about your tree that you're
You
gonna
got
put
the
on the
tree
column. Yeah, we
with the
talked about
panels
something
hanging
kind of-
around that.
It gives a space, not having a hung ceiling gives space for that kind of.
So yeah, it would be very, the ceiling would be very long.
Yeah. You know, feel like Westboro's children's room.
And then one last question, sure, or maybe not, maybe else.
No, that's it.
The maker's space.
That's
We,
those.
we simplified the children's program space for it. The other maker space is gonna be the two purples and the blue, like those two colors.
Yes, those three colors.
They're not quite as bright as those three colors. You think that's okay there?
I think the team can handle it in a way that, yeah.
I mean, those two are pretty good and purple are.
And local history in a larger meeting room next to it. Is it all the same carpet? It's just that the or tile.
On the, that's on the
On the
umbrella.
second floor.
I believe believe, I thought the local history was supposed to be this tile. As opposed to a carpet.
I think it's it's workroom space and staff only space, and then the adjacent meeting room would have carpet because it's meeting room.
The adjacent
Yeah.
meeting room has the blue carpet, but the local history room itself has that boards.
Yeah. We don't want to,
That's why it's blank in the middle there, so it's.
Right.
we don't want to collect dust mites and things that
And
might
I was
be the
just
books.
noticing the
Yeah.
difference in the sizes of
Yes.
that space like you have on the other one or another big question is what are we gonna call the floors? Is there gonna be a main floor, lower level, first floor?
It's
second
been
floor?
upper, lower, or common Upton. So Upton is coming on Upton Street to the lower level, or you come at the common entrance on the common level. There's no more main.
Is everybody consistent on what is it?
The elevator will be upper and lower.
Is it lower level and upper level? on the
No,
elevator?
I have to check with another one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it should be, because it's not really first and second. And we have two street level entrances. I think for firebox purposes, we're calling the Upton Street the main entrance, right, for ambulance and fire to come to,
Yes, yes.
accessible one.
see, that was the tricky one when they want the address on the building.
Planning says it's not changing, 35 Grafton Pump.
Now, do you put that on
On the Upton Street side.
the
Yeah.
Upton Street side? Yeah.
It's probably just, there's not even a number on the building of that.
Is there gonna be a number on the sign? Is that one of the decisions you have to make?
There has to be one.
Didn't
There
they
has
ask
to
for
be
a
a
number?
I think they did.
Yeah, they asked for a number on the building.
But if it's not one, I mean, but, you know,
Probably not. but
It's not now,
It is a requirement.
everybody knows it's a library. That's why.
Yeah, but it's, as you say, it's a little awkward if you've got
Yeah.
Grafton Common
Grafton Common on Upton Street.
on Upton Street.
Only if you think about it too much.
Rear main entrance, 35 up Grafton Common.
That's their main interest, that'll. People involved.
Yeah.
Good. So, remind me that little clean your shoe piece there.
Yes. Right, front door. That's the walk-off mat inside the vestibule on
Right, so,
the lower level.
so, like you have the vestibule when you walk in. What's all that stuff? You know, it's dark. What's that for?
That's this.
That's all that.
It's
Yeah, I
all
see.
of that. And it's recessed into the
walk-off
floor.
It's perpendicular to when you go into the.
So what's the current front door? Is it gonna have a similar in that little vestibule?
Oh, in the front, yeah, there is something.
The whole
on
front
there.
door that'll have a similar.
And we talked about the color of the windows and the color of the walls and the rest of it.
Yes, in the lower level, I mentioned that the window frames, the storefront frames are gonna be that cream color. The walls are gonna be the cream color.
But that part that sticks out a little bit, that's got aluminum, that's metal. aluminum?
It's cream colored aluminum.
This is metal frame.
Right.
Glass. This portion there.
That's. That's kind of. More. You know, Stop and Shop front to a nice building, work on it.
No, it's a better version of that. It's a better version of that. Yeah.
I was just trying to look at the picture that.
Okay, so for next steps, I will get more of the tiles so you can look at
Is
that.
this your campaign flyer?
You haven't had your sit-down meeting to donate some of your millions yet, Don?
Donate?
It looks nicer than I was envisioning, but with.
I got to walk through today, Ken.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's the second
It's like
time.
someone said.
And
um,
I'm a little sad that the skylight won't be clear because the way the cupola, you framed that as you come up those stairs.
Yeah, you know,
Beautiful.
the skylight.
But the
It
leak,
was battling off.
I know.
getting it through the energy.
I know. I said, it just can't be, so. I'm afraid
Yeah,
she did,
it's,
but,
So is that would be the piece that you're raising X dollars for this
Oh,
round?
hey, we have some more stuff.
This is our brochure that we're using for raising.
And you have all that lined up, that the piano's gonna cost this, or this room is gonna cost this. About how much asks is that total? Probably.
We're targeting the 11K.
I told Dana today I expected to do a million.
And you've already.
Yeah, that's just the key. I mean, there's a lot of other opportunities that. Anyway.
Furniture. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is just to get feedback. And give us a better idea of the direction of, you want to take the interior furnishings in, so that we can work with Tucker Library Interiors to refine and make final selections of product as well as finishes. All of the products that Tucker has provided are on contract. So there's no real need to go to have the furniture bid. And I don't know if you've worked with contract and the MLC or the
MATC.
MATC.
Yeah.
I got the two
And,
confused all the time. MHEC contract really takes out the need for bids, and it has a better opportunity of getting what you actually want. So that there are no substitutions. Oh, guy wins most of the bid, but I can't get that one chair. It just makes life a lot easier for everybody involved. And what she's done is provided some ideas for the different areas of the building. Some cafe chairs, cafe stools, cafe tables, benches, meeting room tables, a nice wire base chair with a mobile table. I like to use flip top mobile tables in meeting rooms because they're fantastic. You just flip them up, get them out of the way, and it's really makes for a flexible space. And if you get them all in the same color throughout the building, if you need an extra table in another room, you just go to the room next door, grab a couple of tables, and roll them over, and everything looks nice and neat and like you thought about it.
I would say I totally recommend that pirouette table. It's excellent. I've used it many, many times, especially in a flip top.
Like, trying to think of your budget level, like low, medium, high, or like.
Probably mid-range. I don't think there's anything in here that is extremely high. There are going to be some items that may be a little costlier than others. Soft seating has a tendency to be more expensive.
Interestingly enough, one of the nicest chairs for like the young adults is a fairly pricey chair, but it's very durable, and I was sitting in them today.
Oh, I know. So that's my chair.
That's my front. So we're gonna have the ability to go and see some of these. They have some in the showroom, maybe some at a library they've already done an installation.
Yeah, what I've discussed with her is when we get to the point where we want to see samples, bringing samples here. And if there are samples that she cannot get to bring here, she'll see what's available in the area that we can go visit.
I don't mind traveling away, or you would see me more than that.
It's super helpful to see,
Yeah.
you know, some people look really cool and you sit there and go, oh no.
Right, absolutely.
Especially with seating. Absolutely with seating. Tables. But if, you know, take a look through these. Let us know what you like, what you don't like.
What would you like feedback on this? You have this electronically for everybody else?
Yeah, I provided that with the thumb drive of all of the PDFs or all of the items that we. I would say early next week.
Probably chairs, like, on the second page of the team space, with the white lounge chair.
Yeah.
A little desk.
Time of our-
Yeah, I love the concept, but as a slightly oversized person, I'd actually rather see an armchair with a pull-out table instead of I'm locked in, I don't have enough
I mean, that's the
room.
kind of feedback. we
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, and because those are
And then
nice.
they're also more portable.
And they're more
Yeah.
flexible too, because you can, it's not just on, you can pull it over. They end up sort of migrating around depending on who wants to use it and where.
Yep.
So they're actually much more flexible to have as
Yeah.
a separate piece. Yeah.
I do think they look really cool.
There.
And they've made, some of the companies are making them that are not specifically for tablets anymore, even in a lounge seating, gang seating area. They use them as kind of an occasional table to put your coffee down.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be used for a lot of time.
Library, I went to one of our libraries today, and there was one. We have these, on this job, we have these fairly large round tables. They're pretty low, but they have lounge seating going to the table. And you know, we tried them out when we were picking the furniture and all that stuff, and everybody likes the idea, and so we had them. They are just absolutely fabulous. I mean, they're bigger tables, and we've got, as you can see on the second floor here, we've got plenty of space up by the window. It might be nice to do a couple of these round tables with the lounge seats, because it's like the perfect height for laptops, the perfect height for writing, and it's different from sitting in a wood chair or something, you know, it's much more comfortable.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing we'd love. It'd be great to go and see it, sit down and
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
And this, correct me if I'm wrong, but this furniture layout is current, and what we're looking at here is the first draft of the furniture budget. And this is not cast in stone, with the exception of probably stats. You know, we don't want to start moving those around. But as Ken was saying, you know, we show tables, rectangular tables here, that might become a round table with. So when you look at the furniture plans, don't feel that it's cast in stone.
I have a question about stacks. So we had to put in a certain number to meet a certain number of materials requirement for that 20-year longevity. But is there potential to order all of the shelving that we need, but only install like here and here and leave a gap down the middle so that we could have seating when we open, and then take the seating away and relocate it and put up those bookshelves when we have to?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the answer I want to hear.
We could purchase it, get
Yeah.
it delivered, but then
Store.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just make sure you know it's stored 3 by 6 inches that are put in the barn somewhere and never.
No, we want to keep them in the building.
No, yeah,
They're not
you have
business.
space, right, in theory, you've got some. Yeah,
At the back of this package, I did include a generic image of library stacks, metal shelving, wood end panels. It does not show a top cap, but because these are lower than what's shown in the image, we have a wood edged laminate top on the stacks that you can use for display space. I included media storage and display just as an idea, and so we don't forget about it.
yep, thank you.
And then I also included office furniture. We do not show them, but most of the manufacturers offer a standing height option, a sit stand option,
Awesome.
integral with the furniture, or they sell the add-on tops they're great for retrofits, but if you're gonna buy new furniture, just buy one that does what you want.
There going to be a place for all the brochures and flyers and ways that people.
Yeah, it's downstairs, by the restrooms. I thought there was some wall space for our plastic brochure holders and bulletin boards. Squinting at the.
This wall here, the edge of the stair,
Yeah.
or isn't there space? I think there's space under the stair.
Maybe that's what it was.
That doesn't show up here.
Yeah.
The only thing with the stand, is you don't really get, at least from what I've seen, is you don't really get the cubicle look to it, right? The stand's just gonna be a table.
We don't. I also would like to encourage less clutter for my employees. Like right now, if you want to disinfect your desk, you have to be keeping it empty. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I threw in some additional images that are a little bit less stereotypical for offices. So, for example, in this image here, this table would most likely be the sit stand. It's a little bit of a freestanding table.
Mhm.
There are some companies that are making sit stand desks that the return is part of the sit stand option. So you have your main desk and you have your return that also moves with it. The main one that does that, plus it has the shelving with it.
You generally recommend shelving that's kind of part of the cubicle, or just getting a flat desk and then just installing it on the wall?
I like to use the wall storage that goes with the furniture. It does not necessarily need to be a hutch like these two images.
Yeah.
It could be more like the previous page where yeah, on the top page here, where you have your desk, but the cubbies, the wall storage is just a freestanding unit. Wall mounted.
Are you thinking in terms of wood or white or gray or what? Do you think the furniture,
That's up for discussion.
what are you?
I like wood over laminate. Warmer. And if, when we read off the building program, we talked about natural light, natural material.
Also, like if you seeing a formica type surface, or is it a desk scratch?
Character.
Nearly as clear as it doesn't show up.
Well, there's also the option of, if it's
wood or wood veneer, it's easier to find somebody, furniture restorer that can fill it and kind of blend it in.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's, this isn't really a high use destructive type of area.
Yeah.
But we've got skills.
I mean, if we're talking office, but like the director's office.
We're gonna have a brawl every
That's
Thursday.
gonna, that can be wood, that'll be fine in maple.
Yeah.
But
You
if
sure
you're
it
dealing
can't
with the wood tables for the public, I tend to go with laminate or some other material other than wood, because you need the durability.
I
You
get,
know?
right now, we're like
I
reaching my desk. Like, it's terrible for it. Julie, go ahead.
No, I agree with Ken. You really need the durability out in public,
Fine.
in the offices, and of course, it's all going to depend on budget too, because
Yeah.
the wood and the wood veneer really adds up quick in the offices.
I would say,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think when it comes to the tables, obviously the finish of the top, you do need to be economical in their choices. But the biggest choice is whether it's a wood leg or a metal leg. Metal is going to be much more durable, but it creates a look.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So, and there are examples of wood and metal legs in here. So that might be something that,
We were, like, as a staff, talking about things like, we know our patrons want more traditional generally, but maybe not for the team space. Like, that's a place to be more fun.
I don't know that that's necessarily true, because people get used to being one way, and that's all they see. But if you put them in a very clean, crisp, at a modern table, they'll be delighted because it looks so nice. It doesn't have all the, I was so frustrated. We did a huge school remodel project, and very modern, lots of sloping glass on the outside, and it was just fabulous. And they went in and put mahogany furniture in this thing, and it looked, they all wanted traditional furniture, and it looks awful. It looks absolutely awful. So, you have to be careful what traditional is.
How would you classify the new building? Like, where you're going for a particular, it's mid-century modern, it's arts and crafts, it's Swedish, more Swedish design. Like, did you have an overarching thing? Fair enough.
No, it's going to be, I would see the majority of it as being modern.
Yeah.
You've got the traditional rooms on the ends that if you wanted to soften it a little bit, you could. But, certainly obviously the existing building, you have that tradition there. But I think all the other spaces should have a modern feel to them.
Were we gonna finish what we have? I thought that was.
That's what we talked about doing.
Yeah, it would make the historic. Yeah, I have 4, and rumor has it there's 2 others in storage, and there's a rectangular one sitting on the stage at the municipal center that was on our DPW. And I said, I want it, but I haven't been able to look at it or to move it. So, I think it's deep 6 with maybe a drawer, but I don't know the condition
So
of
maybe
it.
we can have
Yeah, okay.
we'll also have them make the window seat cushions.
Okay.
So we'll pick the fabric for that.
So we still need chairs. We'll see.
Well,
Prison industries, the business.
Because be real careful with finishes, because then you don't want 16 layers of
Oh, far less. No, 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 absolutely not.
We can
And then-
specify how we.
Yeah.
We just use,
Yeah, yeah.
we just have it done in the Madison Library with some tables that were probably at least 100 years old and close to it.
Yeah.
And they did library tables and also some small, but they weigh a ton, oak benches. And oak mahogany, so
No, no, no,
mahogany carved, they're
Carved.
just gorgeous pieces, and it just really.
it's a lyrebird kind of shape. Leg on the end.
Captain's chairs that you're in, will those just be plain or will you have a cushion in them?
I would do plain. Those chairs are, I find them really comfortable. They've got the carved seats and,
Oh, the Windsor style chair.
yeah.
So I forget how many of these we have, but I think I'm open to, we have 6 tables. We end up with only 2 chairs at every table when we open because we have to commission, and I have somebody who could make and replicate those chairs. Going down
Because
on
that's a
that.
newer one.
Yeah.
And it could be, they've mixed, because there were some at the town hall, the original town
Yeah.
hall.
I mean, we can look at, I mean, they still make these chairs.
Yeah.
So we could look at actually buying new ones if there's, there's a lot of them that have got tie rods and things to hold them
Yeah,
together.
and I have pieces of them like stored in this building in the hopes that we'll have somebody who can put them back together and not just wood glue. But,
Like long draft ones, and you have a pocket and cushion.
I was just gonna say, I love the idea of having a basket of cushions. Yeah, that, we need drapes for this room too. The ones that are there, I mean, they need to be replaced. They're too short and stuff is, the connections are broken. That make them open and close. They don't hang well. I think we need to, yeah.
Do you
We'll get
want
windows.
drapes or do you want just nice blinds?
Again, my personal preference,
both.
along with this mustard yellow color, I hate blinds because I am inept at working them. My personal, if it's a sheet that goes up and down, that's fine. But I think the windows are gorgeous and need some kind of treatment. If they open and close, it's helpful because of the sun coming in, unless we're going to do a treatment on the glass. The fire department requires us to make sure they are open at the end of every day. So then if you close them, you have to remember to open them up. If they're, on a timer, that would be perfect. Because if the building is on fire and that somebody drives by, they need to be able to see in those windows and know that the building's on fire. And if you have the drapes closed.
The difference is we're gonna have a modern fire alarm system and fire suppression system. So that requirement may go away.
Usually the smoke coming out.
The things they told me when I took the job, don't close the drapes at night.
I mean, it could be as simple as
Yeah.
a chain,
Yeah.
or even the.
Roman trees.
Put it in the elevator.
Yeah. I think there still were no sprinklers in the main room.
Right.
Smoke
But you
detectors,
had- Oh, there wasn't a smoke.
but not, there were smoke detectors, not, and heat sensors, but not sprinklers.
Yeah.
No suppression.
Are sprinklers going to be put in?
Oh,
them?
yeah, that's gonna be a fully compliant building.
Think about the drapes, because that's, again, it's very traditional and it's also kind of heavy. You could, if you went with a shade, it would just roll up to the top and the window would be totally open. So you could see through the windows. Yeah, I mean, it's just a box about that big.
The window's, it's a curved Palladian window.
Yeah, but the top, you've got that fill-in panel. You've got that
Right.
fan,
Okay.
that fan on the top, and so the the shade could actually fit at the bottom of the fan.
Okay.
Whatever happened to the light picture that fell off of the basement? The brand. Remember we
Yeah,
trying to find somebody to fix that?
it's somewhere. No, we'll find it when we move.
Is that-
Yeah, it's sat in my office for a long time. I don't remember where it is. In here. we didn't get rid of it.
What did he end there?
No, I was supposed to get, Rob to come get it and look at it. The door guy. Yeah. It's just terrible. Oh, you know what? I think it's copper. I think it's actually copper. Yeah. So,
What else do you run?
Okay, so next steps. I'm going to order more carpet samples so we can see larger areas of the pattern. So the rep can see how fast I can get that. I will need your feedback on the furniture. I was thinking we could meet every week, if that's okay with you. And we may have to alternate Wednesdays and Thursdays
Yeah.
to accommodate your schedule. That's fine by me.
Wednesdays and Tuesdays is better.
Wednesdays and Tuesdays, okay. Yeah, I don't have any commitments on Tuesday. So Wednesdays and Tuesdays. So next week, our next meeting would be next Tuesday, 28th.
Peter's been great about keeping days.
Tuesday, 10/28, 6 p.m. Here.
And does that Zoom work for this?
I think so. Actually, so I use I'll set up a new one to be for every meeting. Because it was specific for the 13th. I'm reusing the one for the 13th.
So you can set it up to be kind of generic,
Yeah,
and then I can just plug it in. I don't have to
Exactly.
keep asking.
yes, which is what I did with the other two.
Right,
Yeah.
the other one.
Yeah, I'll set up a new one to be a long.
Tuesday the 27th, I have a long date. I'm adding 7 to today's date.
Physical meeting. Or where we talk about preferences.
It may be a virtual meeting. If I cannot get samples in time, then we'll do it virtual. There's no need to come out and talk about.
So we could go, we are between now and Tuesday to say, I like 5 chairs listed. I like these 2 the best, head in that direction.
Yes.
That type of-
And if there's something different that you don't see in here, and you can find a picture of it on the internet, throw that in as well. Far afield, because we do have a budget. So from there, and also what I'd like to do is have your permission to give the information for the floor tiles, and the sheet vinyl, and the broad loop at the very end, and the carpet square to the contractor so they can get moving with it. I need to provide them with drawings for the tile, locating everything. I'll need to give them a dimension carpet plan for the second floor, more traditional spaces. It's really just these patterned carpets in the middle that are going to be in the teen space, the youth space, and the upstairs adult that we can pull off on. But if we're good with these tiles, the linoleum, the vinyl, I'd like to get that into the hands of the general contractor early next week.
So I'll make a motion to proceed with getting all the tile to the contractor. Tile and floor samples, whatever you want to call
I'll second that.
it. Yeah, we're good. Anyone opposed? No? All right. We also, I need to make a motion to adopt the Historic District Commission's recommendation to go with the pewter tanker gray siding to the exterior of the building. So that needs to also be like a formal vote.
That need to be decided now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have we, know there's like a mock-up on site?
There was, and after our last meeting, that I got to go on site, I took a picture of that mock-up, and it actually had the yellow and the gray with sun and shade, and I sent it out to everybody to take a look at. We haven't heard anybody come back with, no, we want yellow. I've heard gray is fine, but I mean, you know, so I made a motion to go with their recommendation, which they approved, and not be contentious about it.
I mean, the bigger.
No, we can make the recommendation. I mean, we can make the
But you said
decision.
you sent that out.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Everybody. Didn't I? Yeah.
Remember it being some shade.
When I took the picture, it was at like 4:30 in the afternoon, so it had the contrast. I don't know if I still have it.
It was a vast majority of.
Yeah,
Few of us here, those.
didn't like that butternut squash.
I mean.
I have too many Pokemon pictures on my phone. Josie.
But we need the actual vote.
Yeah, so I need a second and, all
Also,
right.
So what was the gray called? I don't know.
No, the gray was, here it is.
Several.
Yeah, those, I didn't notice the shade, yeah.
Yes, it's got cheated here. So can we vote in favor of going with Tudor Tinker?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Oh, thank you. I think if I send it out as 4 more minutes, then you can do it with you to get it ordered and start installing it. That's my understanding. I'm glad I did.
You mentioned signage. Are we done with that next week or?
I think we can begin talking about that next week if we put that in.
Do you want to sit down and look at all the rooms and then bring a proposal? What's the usual?
And I mean, like an outdoor sign that's stuck in the grass.
Everything
Or are
from
we talking
that to room signs, yeah.
Well, the main building sign is in the drawings, and that's already been, that's already existed. Most of it's all the interior stuff.
Right.
So
So
there's some exterior signs too. One
Yeah.
that we're starting to work on is we've got to have a sign that shows invasive species to put next to the wetland area so that they could have kids go out there and pull out. So they have the picture of the particular plants and they can go out and pull them out. Yeah. So what I got to do is figure out what invasive species are applicable to this.
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
everywhere.
I have two requests for signage. One is we need to come up with a design for all of our naming opportunities, right?
that's part of it.
Yeah.
And then an idea of having a larger sign placard in the entryway that recognizes.
No, there's
Yeah, we just don't have.
dedication plaque, right, which I think is what you're referring to, which was.
Well, I was thinking on that same dedication plaque, will there be any space for donors?
It would be done as a separate.
That would be, the donors would be separate.
So yes, there would be a dedication plaque and a separate donor plaque. And then there's the opportunity for individual spaces to be, have donor plaques as well.
Part of the capital convention, I'm interested in that too.
Yep.
But we
Yeah,
do need for the dedication plaque, we need to know what names are going to go on that.
Just mine.
Yeah.
Who-
No, I usually, I've done that before. I can make sure we get that all together.
Get all those names together
Yeah,
and anything that needs to be written on it, or whatever.
yeah. Sure. Check it 13 times. Make sure spelling is correct.
Do we have to say it was grant funded?
Yeah.
What's that?
Grant funded.
Oh, yes, I'm sure the MDLC has to come first, right? Yeah.
But it can be a big thing.
aren't on the committee now, but were at the beginning. They get their name on the side.
Yeah, I've gone through that before. We'll get there.
And do we have a space?
Right.
Do we have a space where that's gonna go?
Yes.
You know,
I think it's in the vestibule.
Yeah, like there's benches and there's walls.
And then the donor plaques. We could have a conversation on how those should be. I have a personal preference for glass with the die-cut vinyl letters on the back, which looks really nice. And you can add to it. Pick it up and you can have more names.
or a website or something.
So I'm just going through it on the project.
Yeah,
So
we were,
I have something.
Yeah, I would touch that.
we were thinking of if you could somehow get like the silhouette of this front, like the glass plaque would have maybe just a silhouette of that. I don't know how hard that would be, and if it would be functional to then put a name on it. But that was what we were thinking. I was thinking about for the shape of it.
For the main,
No, the naming, the naming.
oh, the
plaque.
naming opportunity.
Like a
So
little small plaque.
a little plaque. Yeah, we might be able to do that. I think it might be simpler to have it square with that on it, with where the windows are is where you put the names. You do the cupola and the profile of the building.
One idea.
Yeah, I think
I
that.
don't know if it'd be better just have a square or a circle, but this kind of seemed like it's kind of a neat little one.
Or it could be circular, or just. And were you thinking of a particular material?
I was not.
So, I mean, donor plaques, it's probably easier to do them in plastic or maybe metal if you wanted to. A glass, because they're so small.
Oh, for the individual room donors,
Yeah.
It's usually a plastic or metal.
But yeah, we could work on something like that.
So next week, we'll talk about furniture, we'll talk about signage, we'll start those two conversations. If I have carpet tile samples, I'll bring those, then we'll meet in person and I'll bring those with me. After that, it would be a matter of, continuing to meet once a week, alternating Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I can give you, I printed it out, but I left it on the printer back at the office. It's basically the email I sent to you, listing what the basic next steps are. And it's the things we're talking about now, getting the finishes finalized into the hands of the contractors, moving forward with more refined furniture selections so we can get that to the dealer and they can revise their budget. Once we have that piece down, then we can start asking for actual samples. Once we know that the things you like are within your budget, then you take the next step of getting samples, take the next step of selecting those finishes, the upholsteries, the woods, the plastic colors, and start to tie that down. Finish up the signage pretty quickly. Basically, I'd like to have this wrapped up before the end of the year. I think it's entirely feasible. And I'm sorry, going back to furniture for a second, once we get the budget and finalize all those decision points about finishes and whatnot, we'll have a final budget from the furniture dealer. And then if everything's approved and we're good to go, the order gets placed.
And
I'd like to-
we go with one, we go with this brand.
It's
Yeah.
different
They-
manufacturers
Yeah.
represented by, yes. And the manufacturers that they represent, like KI, they make office furniture, they make school classroom furniture, library furniture. It's not all
furniture, the library furniture. There are some that spend like the stacks. That those manufacturers usually don't make anything aside from shelving and maybe some tables. But we're getting a variety from different manufacturers through one distributor.
It's all through the state business, so. I had a question, sort of partially for you, Beth, and partially for you guys. So the study rooms, right now, do we have a plan? Do you want to have those schedulable?
Yes.
And so do we have a plan for that? How that's going to happen? Because I've done it several ways on the corporate side of things.
Yeah. So first, the board of trustees has to write and approve a policy on how those meeting rooms will be used,
Yeah.
all of the meeting rooms. And then we would add a meeting room booking component to Event Keeper, which we already use a company that does our museum pass reservations and our program registration. So it's just an add-on, probably like $500 or $600. And what happens is people will submit a form request from a website where they can look at all the furniture configurations and pick which rooms they want, whether it's for a meeting for 100 people or for 2 tutors who want to sit in a little room. And it goes from the form to a staff member to approve and then reply back and say, but here's the policy that you have to follow. And the meeting rooms have to be scheduled. It will be first come, first served basis when there isn't something scheduled. But there will be like, a tutor can't have the room every single day from 4 to 8 p.m. There has to be rotation. And
So does that end up showing up on something outside of the room, or is that you have to go talk to some of the staff?
you have to go.
understand what-
So the door be.
Because that is,
Then the staff member to let you in. You just can't go take one of the study.
Yeah, we're not doing remote keying, right? For those rooms.
yeah, I mean, I've done it several times where it's a relatively inexpensive way to have a tablet that's on the wall that shows what the schedule is. So people know they can't just walk in
Yeah.
and they can see that something is scheduled.
Event Keeper has a kiosk mode.
Right. I'm just saying, is that something with that? I don't know that that's something.
Yeah, I didn't build in like iPads outside of every room for that, but I thought we had LED display somewhere hanging in the lobby that would have like the rotation of the schedule for the day. Interspersed with this program coming up. and
Because it's
one
not,
up, one down.
because having those tablets at each meeting is not a terribly expensive thing
What, two?
to do. So I wasn't sure what to think. If there was a plan for that,
wiring, Andy, outside, to receive.
usually I've done it with slow voltage. So it's easy to run. You can do the tablet you can use pretty well.
But that has to be done before, the wiring has to be done before the building
So-
starts. It's not all wired.
Right.
So those tablets are not, the person can't schedule on those tablets, it's
Correct.
just the
It's
display.
just.
So it's pretty.
Yeah, no, they actually could be wireless. Well, they need.
And power.
That's what we did with our iPads, which we were using for OPEX. So we had one in children's and one down in the command. And now we're using it for the staff check-in every day. It's wireless. We just ran a cord. They're in a locked
And
space.
he's talking about something that mounts on a wall and walk
Yeah.
into the room.
Yeah, these are long.
I mean, especially for the big room and the big study rooms.
What about like the phones and all your computers? Are you getting all new? Are you taking?
Supposedly, that was all part of the request.
Right.
Yeah, which is good because all the computers are dying.
So that way everybody's going in with the clean.
Yeah. Yeah, we're running out. We have machines that are 6 or 7 years old right now. And we've just been waiting for that. I did put in equipment requests earlier. They just got cut from the budget. We were gonna try to replace them early. So we would be bringing some used things, but we can't. They're nearly just.
In thinking of keys, I'll need to set up a meeting with you.
Yeah.
Talk about keying before the CTAs and that information.
And is it gonna be keys or card?
Probably
Card or
combination
pin pad, I
too.
hope. I prefer like a pin pad or a swipe. I mean, everyone's supposed to have a name badge or something.
Keying is just a generic term.
Yeah.
That's, what doors do you want locked and how do you want them locked?
Mhm.
Who has access? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
That's just something I can meet on.
Okay.
It's not really a design decision. Any other questions for us while we're here? Otherwise, you know where to find us.
Yeah, great progress, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience. I appreciate it.
All right, so I'm calling us adjourned and gonna stop the recording. Right? Can we vote to adjourn? Can I make a motion to adjourn? Yeah. Great.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks for coming, Ally.
I'll see you next week.
Okay.
Thank you very much.